So here I am with this sweater that has a hole in it. And I just wanted to point out that, often we make mending and repairing more complicated than it needs to be. And so I first just take it and turn it inside out. And then I always have like a pack of needles on hand, nothing super fancy. I mean, these are way reasonably priced, like a couple of dollars. So you're just going to take a needle. I prefer them not to be too long because then I find it's harder to work with. Now with a knit fabric like a sweater, you don't need a super sharp needle or a super thin needle. So this is just kind of a medium, and you will get used to it. But the one thing that I pay attention to is like how big the eye is. Like I have some needles that are great for wedding dresses because they're really sharp and they're really thin, and like beadwork. But when you're working with a knit, you don't need that. And so get a needle that is comfortable in your hand. And then I'm going to thread it. Of course, there's a little bit of fray at the end, which is pretty common. I'm just going to snip that edge and then thread my needle. And as you can see, I found a color thread that's reasonably close to this sweater. Just gonna have a decent size length. You don't need a super long piece of thread. Mine might be like 8 inches or so. And then I like to tease out all of that stress out of the thread, rubbing your fingers back and forth. And I take it and knot it just like this. Okay. So you just roll it on your finger. There's other ways to knot it. If you don't figure out the knot right now, you'll get it over time. So here we are back to the basics. So on the back side, first I'm just going to go slightly up through, and then I do want to catch this because my knot is not going to stop because this is knit. It'll just pull through those stitches. So I'm going to put my needle through the end before the end of the knot so that then it will catch. And then I just go around, and if you can, find the loops that are left from where the stitches came out, because knitting has a lot of loops. Like right here you can see this is a loop. I'm going to try and put the needle right through a loop if I can, if I see them, and then continue going around the hole. And this only works if it's a reasonably small hole and through the loops. And so what's going to happen is as we pull it, we're going to continue tightening. So now I've gone around almost the whole circle of the outer edge. And see, as I'm tightening, that hole just continues to close up a little bit. And now I'm actually just going to take my needle and go back and forth across. So I'm catching everything. Like that. When you turn it over, see, this is where the hole is. You can barely notice that at all. So that means we're doing a really good job. And that's really the goal. I personally am not much of a visible mender, so I like everything to be as invisible as possible. So in order to finish that, we're just going to put in, hold the loop open, put your fingers through, close it up, and seal this up just like that. And then you're all set. Just trim that there. And I'm going to trim this edge here. And it's all finished. So that is the easy way to mend a hole in a sweater.